jantam karam bhojayumena sathanga nedram Swasakam patri rehanka kanta Sita graiva damodaram bhakti
Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Hanuman Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Just stop when he blows the conch. Can you sing it for us?
Okay, thank you. Please sing together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Says you need to read the translation as well. Just stop now.
So I'll just read the translation to Damodarastika. It's a special prayer that we sing this month to worship Sri Krishna as Damodar, the Lord who is tied by the love of his devotee. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar, hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours, as Balagopal in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes. O Lord Damodar, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nala Kuvera, were delivered from the curse of Narad and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby, tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Shri Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Shri Kartiki Devi ki jai, Radharani ki jai. So we'll just sing the Shingadev prayers. Anyone who can stay. Sorry. If there's someone who can play kartal still, that would be really wonderful. Okay. Namaste Nara Singhaya, Namaste Nara Singhaya, Namaste Nara Singhaya.
Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamala Vare Rakha Advaita Shingha Keshavadita Narasimhadev, Narasimhadev, Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shingadev Bhagwan ki jai, Bhakta Prahlad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai. Thank you very much. Archana! 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 Oh my god!
You playing?
I happened, the person happened not to turn up. I didn't have a slot to sing, and
Krishna arranged it.
really, because I had my name, but then I got COVID, so I couldn't sing last Monday, and I was just lamenting that. And then I get to see my nephew. Yeah. She was at work today.
No, she doesn't work. She's only working Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita. So the speaker cancelled today actually, so I'm sorry you're lumped with me. But thank you for coming anyway. And Hare Krishna to everyone listening online, if there are a few of you. I don't know, pujaris and devotees serving in the kitchen. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from chapter 7. There's some Bhagavad Gitas here if you want to follow along. So chapter 7, text 30. So this is the final verse in the chapter. So I thought I'd do a quick kind of overview of chapter 7, just to round off the chapter. So at the beginning of the chapter, Krishna is speaking and he tells Arjuna, he declares that he's going to give Arjuna some more knowledge. So all through the Gita, he's been giving him knowledge, and then he says he'll give him even more knowledge, more than what he's given before. And then he goes on to explain the rarity of devotional service. So he says that out of many thousands of men, very few come to endeavor for perfection. And out of those that endeavor, only a few of them even get perfection. And then chapter 7. Yeah, so I'm just giving a quick overview of the chapter. You can kind of follow along if you like. So that was text 3. I was just talking about then text 4 to 7. Krishna's talking about his two energies, the spiritual and the material energy. And he explains that the spiritual is superior. And part of that superior energy is the living entity, actually, and we're exploiting the resources of the material energy. And he explains that he's the origin of both the spiritual and the material energies. And he's like the thread which the pearls are strung upon. So text 7, he says, everything rests on me as pearls are strung upon a thread. So everything comes together because of Krishna. Basically, he's the underpinning cause of everything. And then 8 to 11, Krishna talks, he says how he's the essence of everything. So he's giving different examples of how we can perceive him in this world. He's the taste in water. He's the light of the sun and the moon. He's the original fragrance of the earth, the strength of the strong, etc. And then Krishna explains that he's above the modes. And he says that it's very difficult to overcome these material modes, actually. But for one who surrenders to him, they can easily cross beyond it, actually. And then he talks about the 4 people you may have heard before. There's 4 people that do surrender and 4 people that don't surrender to Krishna. So text 15 and 16, he explains those 4 people. So the grossly foolish, the lowest among mankind, those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and the atheists, they don't surrender to Krishna. And then 4 people that do surrender are the distressed, those in need of money or of wealth, the inquisitive, and the one who's endeavoring for knowledge. And then Krishna says, all of those people that do come to me, for whatever reason, they are dear to me actually, but the one who comes because they're seeking knowledge, they're the most dear to me. And because they're always engaged in devotional service, and he says that he even considers them to be like my own self, like Krishna. And then he explains how it's very rare for the soul who is in to come to knowledge. It's after many, many births. This is in text 19. After many births, somebody surrenders unto Krishna because he understands who he actually is, that he's the cause of all causes and all that is. So he's the cause of everything. And then he goes on to talk a little bit about demigod worship. So Krishna says that people who have strong material desires, whose intelligence is directed in that way of material desires, he makes it possible, actually, for them to fulfill those desires by worshipping the demigods. He makes their faith steady so that the person can worship the demigod. But ultimately, they're just worshipping Krishna, but just indirectly. And all of the benefits go to Krishna. Even though somebody thinks they're worshipping a demigod, actually they're worshipping Krishna because he's the source of everything, including the demigods. And the fruits of that demigod worship are limited and temporary, Krishna says. So those people, those devotees, I guess, in a sense, they go to the planets of the demigods. But if we worship Krishna, then we go to Krishna, to his supreme planet. And then Krishna speaks a little bit about how some believe that his original form is impersonal, and he just takes on a personal form for this material manifestation. He just comes to the earth and takes a personal form. But actually, he's originally impersonal. But he calls those people unintelligent, actually, the people that believe that. They can't see him in truth. They can't see his full nature, which is personal. And then Krishna explains that he knows everything in the past, present, and future, and how all living entities, when we get this material body, we're born into delusion, and we're bewildered by the dualities of desire and hate. And then he explains that intelligent people that may have pious credits in their previous lives, so they've done a lot of religious activities, some austerities in their previous lives, and they're free from sin, they're more likely to be able to see things as they are, and they engage themselves in devotional service with determination. And then yesterday's verse, or not yesterday actually, I think it was Saturday, the class before our class today, was still Krishna speaking. And he was talking again about the intelligent people who are endeavoring for liberation, for salvation. They surrender to Krishna. They take refuge, they take shelter in Krishna and in devotional service. And they are actually Brahman, so they are actually intelligent. They have some spiritual understanding, high level of spiritual understanding, because they know about transcendental activities, so they know about what is spiritual. Okay, so now we'll go on to our verse today. So text 30. So I'll recite the Sanskrit, and then maybe I'll just do line by line, and then you can repeat after me. Okay, I'll just wait until you find. It's on page 410. I think we've got the same copy. Yeah, okay. So text 30. Sadhibhutati daivam mam. Sadhibhutati daivam mam. Sadhiyagyam chaye viduhu. Prayana kale pichamam. Prayana kale pichamam. Te vidhu yukta cetasa. Te vidhu yukta cetasa. Thank you. Would you like to try? You don't have to. If you don't. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So if you can repeat after me, so I'll go through the word for word. So sa adibhuta, and the governing principle of the material manifestation. sorry, I'm reading the English now. And the governing principle of Adidaivam, governing all the demigods. Mam, me. Sa'adi yagyam, and governing all sacrifices. Cha, also. Yea, those who. Viduhu, know. Prayana, of death. Kale, at the time. Api, even. Cha, and. Mam, me. Te, they. Viduhu, know. Yukta jetasa, their minds engaged in me. Hare Krishna. We're having Bhagavad Gita class. If you like to join us, it's okay. You can. We've got some Bhagavad Gitas here, and you can join along if you like. Okay. Okay, so the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. So those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation, of the demigods, and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So I'm going to break it up. So I'll just say a little bit of the translation and then you repeat after me. So those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Okay, purport. Persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the time of death, such a Krishna-conscious person can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Goloka Vrindavan. This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna-conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna-conscious. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And by his grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity and how the living entity forgets Krishna and becomes entangled in material activities. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness and that it should be fully utilized to attain the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Many subjects have been discussed in this chapter: the man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, and diseases, and worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care for the different processes. He simply directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord. In pure devotional service, he is convinced that by his doing so, all his objectives will be fulfilled. This determined faith is called Dhrida Vrata, and it is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service. That is the verdict of all scriptures. This 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the substance of that conviction. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of knowledge of the Absolute. Omakyana timirandasya kinanjana shalakaya chakshuro militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Shri Chaitanya manobishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa gadamayam dadati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Duran Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachati Satarine. Okay. So, I'll just say the translation once more. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll speak for a bit, and then I'll see if you have any questions or insights. I quite like to make it, I don't like to just speak, the whole way through, and I like to have a little bit of discussion, interaction. So my understanding of this verse is that if we are absorbed in thoughts and feelings of Krishna, so full consciousness, so all of our thoughts, all of our feelings, all of our energy is absorbed in Krishna, and who know me, so yeah, we know really who he is, we have knowledge of him, and we're aware of who he is. We can even remember him at the time of death. We can know who he is at the time of death. And one interesting term in the translation that I was kind of intrigued by was governing principle. I just wanted to unpack that a little bit and go a bit deeper. What does that actually mean, that Krishna is the governing principle? So I understood that to be like he's the ruler, he's the controller, he's at the heart of everything. Principle, like he runs through everything of the material creation, and then the demigods, he's saying the systems of sacrifice. He's the reason behind everything. So Mai Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Mani Gana Iva, as pearls are strung on a thread. So we said earlier in the chapter that Krishna is like the string that keeps the pearls together and makes a beautiful necklace. Pearls are beautiful anyway, but if they're strung on a thread, then it makes something that, decorates the body, and it really makes it, it gives it a form. And in that way, Krishna, he gives life to everything, and he's the reason behind everything. So even demigods are actually really powerful. So I was thinking about Indra, he controls the rain. I remember when I was young, in 2007, there were some torrential floods where I'm from. And they, to such an extent, actually, that they had to turn off the water for like 3 weeks. And and it caused like havoc. It was such a big thing. It was very strange, and it completely ruined people's, people that got really flooded, all of their possessions from so many years, it just ruined their lives. And I remember they'd built some flood defences a few years ago, spent millions on it, and it just you know, like just in a few days, all of this rain just completely demolished it. And I just remember I was very young at the time, but I just remember thinking like, wow, we are so helpless in this world. Just a little bit of rain and it just turns, you know, everything upside down. You know, just a bit of rain is like, so yeah, the demigods are controlling that, but even Krishna is even controlling the demigods. So everything just a little bit of rain like that can turn us upside down. But yeah, Krishna is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That means he's the ruler of all the planets and the demigods. And if we can grasp, so the translation, the verse today is saying, if we can grasp that Krishna is this controller, he is ultimately the controller of everything and the cause of everything, and he's the heart of everything, then we can even know him at the time of death. We will remember him at the time of death. So there's another verse which is coming up very soon, actually, in chapter 8. So text 5, it goes, Kale, how does it go? My God, it just like pops out of your head. Ansakale chamame vasmaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yatinastyatra samsayaha. So he's saying that whoever at the end of your life remembers Krishna alone, they're guaranteed to be with Krishna when they leave their body. And so this verse is kind of indicating that a little bit. So it's saying that if we know really who Krishna is, then we will know who he is at the time of death as well. Do you have any thoughts about... Actually, I'm just going to get the cordless mic so that people online can hear what you're saying. So yeah, do you have any thoughts about...
Yeah, I was just thinking on the break of yourself, maybe feedback on thinkings. Those in full consciousness of me, so I agree that you're being in full consciousness in each, everything we do, see
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Or whether
That's
even
nice.
if it's bad, be able karma or anything.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to repeat that. So Prabhu was saying that to be in full consciousness is to see Krishna within everything. So even something bad, we can see actually that Krishna is also behind that.
Demigods, as you said, demigods.
Yeah.
The bit for me, I find difficult is like to know Krishna, who know me. So in this limited form that I am,
Yeah.
I think it's impossible for me to ever know Krishna fully in its entirety. But that's my kind of suppose question on the area, like to know Krishna, know that in that Krishna is everything, there's nothing to be.
Yeah. That's really nice. So Prabhu's just saying, what's your name? Sorry, just so. Dean. Dean. Okay, so Dean Prabhu is just saying how can I know Krishna? Actually, you know, it's really hard. Like, who am I to know him? And yeah, actually that's kind of how we should feel. We shouldn't feel like, oh yeah, well I know who Krishna is, like, because actually, yeah, we are so small, like you say. And actually a few verses earlier, Krishna says, me nobody knows. I can't remember, I was giving class last week, and in the verse it was saying, let me find it. Was it 20? Yeah. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Because he's God, you know? If we knew everything about him, he wouldn't be God, actually. Kind of, yeah, that's my insight.
It's like, can I create a human being?
Mm.
That's the level of
Mm-hmm.
create a cloud. None of these things are
Mm.
human, so how can I even understand it? I can even understand to create a small thing.
Mm.
The difference of Krishna
Mm.
is unimaginable.
Yeah, so Dean Prabhu's just saying now that us humans, we can't even create a little small thing. We can't create life, but Krishna's created everything. You know, he's just kind of, really trying to understand the difference between us and Krishna, actually, how small we are, how insignificant we are in comparison to the Supreme Lord. Yeah, thank you for that insight. Yeah, I think what this verse is saying, from my understanding though, to know Krishna at the time of death, just to have remembrance of Krishna. You know, if we've been practicing our whole lives, then, you know, we have some knowledge in our hearts. We know something. Yeah.
And the grace and the mercy of having the love of Krishna.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'll move on to the purport. So I'm just going to go through the purport and just say my understanding of what Prabhupada is saying, and then you can, anytime you want to say something, you can just, please just stop me, it's fine. Okay, so at first he's saying that if somebody is acting in a way that pleases Krishna, then they understand him. So we often say actions speak louder than words. You know, we can say anything. Someone in morning class a few days ago was saying we can go around saying I love you to somebody all day, but then when it comes to their birthday, if you don't do anything for them, like, you know, how much you're saying something, but do you really mean it? So Prabhupada's explaining here that actually how we're acting, that's how we're believing, that's what we believe. So yeah, often what we really feel and where our consciousness is often the kind of most way to show that or to be able to understand that is through the actions that someone's behavior actually. So if somebody's acting in Krishna consciousness, if they're acting with purity, then it means that internally they are probably quite pure and that they have some understanding of the Lord.
So like selfless service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. If someone's acting selflessly, then it's because they feel they want to give to the devotees, to the Lord, is because they feel themselves to be kind of insignificant, or they genuinely feel like, you know, other people's needs, I want to serve them before myself. Of course, we need to we need to have some service to ourselves. We can't neglect, you know, Krishna's given us a body and a mind to look after, and it is part of him, but at the same time, yeah, we also do need to, this process is learning to surrender and to be giving everything to Krishna, not just serving ourselves in a selfish kind of way. Yeah, thank you. And then he's saying gradually, by this transcendental association. Okay, so our faith is built up gradually. I understand this to be saying, so little bit by little bit, usually. So association, what's he talking about? Transcendental association of Krishna consciousness. That's what he said in the previous sentence. So the more that we're thinking about Krishna, the more that our faith is built up. So we come, as a new devotee. I'm still quite a new devotee, and maybe we're thinking about. We have a few thoughts about Krishna. We know a little bit, and then as time goes on, we're thinking more and more about Krishna because we know more and more about him. We've done more service. We met more devotees. We've read more books, so we're able to think about him more. And then gradually, this increases our faith, and it's like a kind of cycle, We learn more, then our faith increases. We think more about Krishna, and like that.
Can you say about the transcendental japa being the ultimate?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
These pastimes of Krishna, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So Dean Prabhu's saying the transcendental association, we can think of this as like the holy name and the pastimes, so Krishna's Leela, definitely, yeah. Yeah, association of the holy name is the most important actually when we get association of, because that's non-different from Krishna. So that's, if we can chant with absorption, then that's also going to increase our faith. We're going to become more dependent and more, it's going to increase our faith in the holy name and therefore in Krishna. Yes, and then bit by bit, our faith will increase. And I was going to read actually a little bit from the Bhagavatam. This is from Canto 1, Chapter 2. These verses are very important actually, and it explains in another way how our faith can increase and how our anartas are dissolved. So this is from text 17. So I'll just read through from text 17, just the English, to text 21. So Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by the contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. So this is explaining the process of how we can realize who we really are, and how seeing the self as master, this is like seeing that Krishna is the master, actually. That's what it means by the self. It means the supreme self, which is Krishna. Do you have any thoughts, actually, on those? I know it's quite a lot, what I just read. The love, as soon as irrevocable. So we were reading, so it's by hearing about Krishna. If you don't know anything about somebody, it's hard to have any kind of feeling or affection for them. But by in these verses I've just read, it's saying that, if you're hearing classes on Bhagavatam and rendering service as well, service is also a way we can develop that love. If you serve somebody, then, you're developing that mood of respect and a relationship with them. Actually, if you think about the close relationships you have, it's often based on service, like with family. Husband and wife are serving each other, parent and child, especially the parents are, just selflessly just giving themselves, serving the children. And that it develops more with more and more service.
Service moves, I think I shared something else Like if you go into, say, a speaking or vegetarian restaurant, they say, "What do you like? What's that about?"
Yeah, exactly.
Making them happy.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. For Krishna, we want to make Krishna happy. And then that will make us happy as well. If Krishna is happy, then that's what makes us happy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So actually, we don't have so much time left, so we'll finish in about 10 minutes. Okay, I'll just quickly say a few more thoughts that I had on the purport. Okay. So yeah, and Prabhupada's just explaining again that if we're always thinking about Krishna, so the pure devotees, even if they want to forget Krishna, they can't. It's just like the gopis, they wanted to forget Krishna, but they couldn't actually. It's just they can't get him out of their head. And if we're in such consciousness, then he says naturally he is promoted to Krishna's planet, so it's just a very natural thing. And then Prabhupada's explaining about the importance of association, and especially association of people who are in Krishna consciousness. So it's very important that we get association of senior devotees, of sadhus, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily close association, because sometimes that's not always possible, but just some association is good. So they say like a moment's association is often quoted. A moment's association can give somebody success. If somebody has that purity and you're kind of absorbing, you're trying to feel that connection very deeply, then even just a moment's association can be very, very powerful. And I was also thinking about this, that with any quality we want to develop, the best way to develop it is by hanging out with people that have that quality. Like if you want to become a gossip, you just hang around with people who are gossiping. If you want to be negative, if you want to, I don't know, whatever, then they say that you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you want to become Krishna conscious, spend time with people who already are Krishna conscious. If you want to be selfless, if you want to be humble, if you want to develop all of these devotional qualities, then find people that inspire you and try and get their association is really the best way to actually develop those qualities. Yeah, do you have anything you'd like to say on that?
I just think that's really great answer when you come up with that. If it is what you're around, is what you become. It's really inspirational.
Yeah.
Actually being conscious of this first said in that absolute consciousness of Krishna. Absolute consciousness in what we do.
Yeah.
Choice. Krishna gives us the choice, not our choice, but making us conscious, bringing us conscious of Krishna. Conscious of choices Krishna gives us.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So Prabhu is saying we need to be conscious of the choices actually that Krishna has given us. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and we make so many decisions each day. My friend was telling it's so many thousands of decisions we make each day. Some friend that was into psychology, I can't remember, it might have been 30,000, something crazy like that. That's the number of decisions we make each day, and without even realizing it. And so it's good to make those decisions based on Krishna consciousness and directed towards trying to become more Krishna conscious. So it's the same with faith, actually. If an association, going back to association, if we want to increase our faith, then associate people who have strong faith, and then it just lifts you up. That's why, that's one of the reasons Prabhupada created this society, so that devotees could associate with each other. And then, so there's often the analogy given of like one rope. Is it one rope or one stick? It's very easy to snap one stick. But if you have a bunch of sticks, you try and snap that, it's very difficult. And so the same with devotees. One devotee on their own is really, really tough to keep your faith strong. But if there's many devotees get together, is very powerful, and it's very difficult to kind of fall away, actually. How much time? We've only got 5 minutes. Okay. Let's just see what I have here. Yeah, so then later on in the purport, Prabhupada's emphasizing about how to understand who we really are, that we're the servants of Krishna, and that we've just forgotten, actually, that we are servants of Krishna, but we've forgotten our true identity because we've absorbed ourselves, we've engrossed ourselves in these material activities. But then bit by bit, again, he says this word gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good associations. So like we're talking about association. So little bit by little bit, with the right type of association, we can become more Krishna conscious, hopefully fully Krishna conscious one day. And then we can understand that we're Krishna's servants, but that we've just forgotten it. And then Prabhupada talks about how we should utilize our human life. So it's very, very rare that we've got this human form of life. There's 8.4 million species of living entities. And the human being is the one where we can actually question, who am I? What am I doing here? And so it's really important that we use this in the right way and that we're not just living an animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So it's really good that we're here discussing this because that will help us a lot. And we have to really endeavor to try and make that human life worthwhile. And then, towards the end, Prabhupada's just kind of rounding off the chapter. He's saying so many things have been discussed in the chapter, so he goes again over the 4 types of people that come to Krishna, and he talks about knowledge and liberation from birth, death, and diseases, and worship of the Supreme Lord. And then he's saying, but actually, all of these different things are not so significant for somebody who knows who Krishna is. They just want to give their lives, they just want to surrender and engage themselves in Krishna's service. And then he says, and thereby he factually attains his constitutional position. So my understanding of that is that, so we are all Krishna's servants eternally. So it's not, when it says factually attains, it's not like, we're not Krishna's servants, and then when we realize it, then we are. It's like we always are, but it's just the person has realized it. That's my understanding of factually attains. It's like within yourself, you factually attain that realization of who I really am, my identity, my relationship with Krishna. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. So Prabhu's just saying it's like we're just uncovering who we really are because we are so covered over so many lifetimes we've been in this world, and it's like, cleaning the dust from the mirror of the heart. That's the analogy that's often given. We've got so much dust. It's accumulated after so many lifetimes, and we just have to keep scrubbing away until we can actually see who we are in the mirror. Yes, and then... how much time? 2 minutes left. Yeah, and then, Prabhupada's just again saying that the person is convinced about his identity. And this determined faith is called Dridha Vrata. So that's a nice new term we can learn. And this is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service, this determined faith. So faith is, in the 9 processes of Bhakti, faith is the first one, isn't it? Or the 9 stages, of Bhakti is faith comes first. So we need faith and determined faith, Prabhupada is saying. So,
also, it's the faith we put in is what we get back, so what level of faith we put in is...
Exactly, thank you. Yeah. So when we make some endeavour, we get a bit more faith, is that what you're saying?
Just as the faith that we put into, say, japa,
Mm-hmm.
faith in the holy name, Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
They're about faith. It's not about thinking, you know, we get what we get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of like to do with surrender a little bit. You're saying the more that you surrender a little bit of, you know, well, I thought I had faith in, I don't know, some material things. I was endeavouring to attain some great fortune, and then I gave it up, and you know,
I think the faith comes from Krishna himself.
yeah, of course, everything comes.
Whatever material life experience and everything else is mercy like Krishna, and then it's already comes because it revealed
Yeah,
traumas and all sorts of life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So surrender and faith are very closely linked. Yeah, and the greater our faith, the more we can surrender. If we have full faith, then we can surrender everything to Krishna. Because there's no reason to hold on to anything if we have full faith in Krishna, but we're holding on to so many things usually because we don't really believe that Krishna is supreme. We still kind of want to be in the center a little bit, and that's why we're not able to fully surrender. Yeah, any final reflections? We're at 8:30 now, so we'll just round off in a minute. Okay. Thank you for your input. It's nice to have some discussion. I find it much more inspiring as well. I don't like to just kind of go on and on, because that's when Prabhupada's books really come alive. Is when we actually discuss them amongst devotees. So yeah, exactly. So thank you very much, and Hare Krishna to everyone listening online and in other places. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for coming. No, thank you for coming. It's nice to have at least one face to look at. Sometimes it's like the four walls.
Because I've come up from Somerset.
Oh, you're from Somerset. I'm from Gloucestershire, so kind of
That's just
next door.
Up the way, yeah. And I remember seeing it online once. So, but when I go back, and I was talking to someone about, I need something in the evening, you know, to keep me engaged. You know, so, and this would be perfect. So it starts. Is it what time?
It starts just so you have the arti,
Yeah.
coming. It starts just after like 7:45.
Right.
Yeah, every evening apart from Friday and Sunday. They have kirtan
Right,
on
okay.
Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Every other day. So you can come every day. Yeah.
That's good. Was the other thing that was tonight was interesting was that the only thing Krishna doesn't know is Radharani.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I find her
He
really sweet.
understands everything that
Everything.
you
But I
told
don't know.
him. Yeah.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে, এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে। এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে, এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে। হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Bala Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare এই নাম গায় গোরাচন্দ মধুর সদে এই নাম গায় গোরাচন্দ মধুর সদে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে এই নাম গায় গোরাচন্দ মধুর স্বরে এই নাম গায় গোরাচন্দ মধুর স্বরে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে 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 রাম হরে Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare